Surprise, surprise. This unexpected frost caught me a little bit off guard. I have a pretty major concern here. I planted these avocados less than a year ago, all the way down there. So it's a kind of a bigger investment. And you can see this one already got nipped a little bit by the frost on the edges. So that's kind of a big bummer to me. So I'm gonna try something. What I noticed is the threshold for these is like 32 degrees or maybe 30 degrees, and we'll hit those numbers here in Southern California, but at higher elevation, at least probably about 10 times this year. But it's usually only for 2 to 4 hours that we're actually below that number, and then as soon as the sun comes up, we're warming up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start running the sprinklers like I did right now. I'm going to have those come on at 2 a.m. I'm going to have them run till 6 a.m. So just 4 hours of this. And here's the basics why. The water coming out of that hose is obviously going to be warmer than 32. So in that way, the water is warming the roots and warming the dirt. And some people would say to run it in the day, so that way if this is wet, the sun would warm this and then it would keep it warmer longer. And that's true, but I'm not going to run them during the day. I'm going to run them at night, and then that residual water will be all in the root ball and in the bed. And you can see this is frosted a little bit too, so that's, you know, it's a bit of an issue. But the real science behind the idea is that water comes out. Yes, it's warmer, so it's warming, but more critically, when something is freezing, like when water's freezing, it actually is giving off energy. It sounds kind of strange, but it's opposite. If you put ice cubes in your drink, the ice cubes are going to actually absorb heat into the ice to melt it. Well, the opposite's true. If it's water, let's say on the ground, or even water in the air, that water freezing is actually going to give off a small amount of heat. I don't know exactly how much, but there's definitely going to be some heat given off as that freezes. And so that's kind of the theory behind this. It's not sensible heat. It's initially sensible heat while it's let's say that water comes out at 50. It's going to be a sensible heat change from 50 all the way down to 32, where essentially you can see the water is getting colder, right? But getting colder means the heat energy is leaving the water, and that's how the water is dropping in temperature. So that would give a little bit of heat right here. But as it freezes, there's actually continues to be a heat exchange right there as well. But that's a little bit different. That'd be latent heat. So the water changing from water to ice gives off heat just as well as it cooling. So I'm going to lean on that latent heat as it changes from water to ice and see how much that helps these trees, because last year these got kind of messed up. We had one day where it was about like 25 degrees as a low, and I had a wheelbarrow out here with this much water, and I came out and the water was frozen all the way to the bottom of the wheelbarrow. It was just a block of ice. So I actually lost quite a few trees that time. So we'll do a little walk. You can see, kind of bummed. It was not supposed to be that cold last night, so I was a little unprepared on this one. I can live with the edges of those leaves being burned, but just frost burn. But I don't want to get it down into like the core of the trunk, because that's how I lost the trees last year. They just withered and died. So these actually look fairly happy, fairly healthy. The other thing I found is a lot of times the cold comes in this direction. So I did kind of try to hide them behind some things. You know, like we got a big oak right here that's going to protect these. And then the last thing that I had done was I picked the trees that were going to get hit by the heat, by the cold, which is way over there, and I put bacon. Bacon was supposed to be some of the more heat tolerant, or the freeze tolerant. So on that end, I put some bacon. These I tried to shelter behind some of these oaks. But I kind of need this oak right here to get big fast, and can't do that. And then if it looks like it's going to get that much colder, I'm going to go ahead and do what the normal person would do, is I'll put blankets, sheets, or you know, something to just kind of insulate them. But that's gonna be a little bit of a pain, because you can see that one's like 7 feet tall. This one's like about 8 feet tall. So talking about a pretty big sheet. But if it gets much colder than that, that's what I'm gonna do. So let's just see how this watering them during the freeze time works out to start. And that's where we're at. And on another note too, I put quite a few of these reed avocados over here. Reed and lamb haas, which are supposed to be some of the more heat tolerant, because I have the opposite issue here. This is south over here, so these tend to get hit with a little bit more of the heat wave that we'll get. And so I did try to position them for this. I'm still a little bit nervous, so we'll see. So we had our worst freeze last night. It was 30, like 29, 30. Looks like they're doing pretty good. I do think that running the water helps, because we got some of these temperatures last year and it really hurt them. So you can see a little frost burn, but if you look, like the new fresh leaves, still nice and alive. You can even see, I mean, it's like 9:30 in the morning and there's still ice down here. So that's you know, a sign that it was definitely cold for a while, but I'm hoping that this water freezing just is kind of going to give off just enough heat to keep us good. You see the low to the ground one, that branch definitely got nipped. You can see those leaves are droopy, but the prized fruit remains. So I think overall running the water between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. has been effective, at least to some extent. This last year I lost quite a few trees with similar temperatures. Let's check the little flowers. Yeah, see, I mean, even those are still doing all right. So I'll wait a week and follow up in case the damage hasn't really set in yet. Yeah, I mean, here you can tell all this is frozen still, even at whatever time it is, 9:30. So it was definitely cold. But I really have seen minimal damage. So I'm pretty excited about that. Hopefully they don't have any colder than this year.